The fabric of the world is coming undone. Look around. Wars flare up like sparks in a field of dry grass. Injustice spreads unchecked, and morality buckles beneath the weight of modern illusions. What was once sacred is ridiculed. What was once condemned is now exalted. This is not the ordinary current of history. It is something deeper, darker, more enduring. For those who truly reflect, these are not mere political shifts or cultural trends. They are tremors before the quake, the final breaths before silence. The Prophet Muhammad told us this time would come. And though only Allah knows the exact hour, the signs are plain, burning like warning flares across our societies and our very hearts. Among the most striking of these signs is not only the turmoil we witness, but the rise of certain individuals whose roles have been inscribed in the final chapters of time. From the countless prophecies preserved in authentic revelation, 5 men stand apart. Each one, chosen by divine decree, will emerge when humanity teeters between awakening and annihilation. These men are not symbols. They are not allegories. They are real, described by name, character, and deed. And they will appear whether in our lifetime or in the generation to come. Their identities were not drawn from vague legends, but conveyed with precision and clarity by the tongue of the final messenger. Each of these 5 figures will mark a turning point, a line in the sand. Their emergence will testify that the end is no longer far off. This is not the start of the end. It is the heart of it. Events will cascade, one after another, like beads spilling from a broken string. And only those who know the signs may be able to keep their faith firm. This is not a time for myth or idle speculation. It is a time to awaken, to recognize the divine plan, to prepare, to see the world for what it is becoming. Among the first of these men, spoken of with awe in rigorously authenticated traditions, is Al-Qahtani. His name echoes through centuries, tied to the nobility of Arabia and the prophetic legacy of Yemen. The Prophet Muhammad said, "The hour will not come until a man from cotton appears, driving the people with his staff." These are not empty words. They are keys to a vision of the future, safeguarded by generations of scholars, memorized by hearts that trembled before their Lord, preserved with precision from the messenger of Allah. The mention of the staff has fascinated scholars for centuries. It is not a mere stick of wood, but a symbol, a sign of authority, divine leadership, and the guidance the world will desperately thirst for, when chaos rules and truth is buried beneath the rubble of falsehood. Beneath layers of propaganda, corruption, and deceit, the rise of Al-Qahtani will not be gentle. His emergence is bound to upheaval, an age of broken systems and crumbling illusions. He will not appear in times of ease or stability, but in an era where justice is drowned under power, where the cries of the oppressed echo unanswered, and where believers feel abandoned and betrayed. In such a world, leadership will not be something he seeks. It will descend upon him like a weight too heavy for ordinary men. He will not chase fame. It will pursue him. The people will follow him not through coercion, but because something in his presence, his resolve, his refusal to bow to falsehood, will awaken their loyalty. The scholars explain that the staff mentioned in the Hadith is both symbol and reality. Authority that is decisive, leadership that is righteous, justice that is not passive but actively pursued. Al-Qahtani will guide with conviction, not cruelty, with firmness, not tyranny. He will restore a moral compass long lost to the world. His lineage matters too. Yemen, the land of his forefathers, has always held a unique honor in Islam. The Prophet praised its people, declaring, "Faith is Yemeni, and wisdom is Yemeni." The people of Yemen were among the earliest supporters of Islam. Their sincerity, humility, and depth of faith recognized in revelation itself. Whether Al-Qahtani emerges from Yemen directly, or from among its descendants scattered across the world, his spirit will carry this prophetic praise. His roots are not simply geographic, they are spiritual, tied to faith, character, and destiny. The very name Cotton is no accident. It is a sign, a link in the divine chain that draws the world closer to its final hour. Yet not all will welcome him. Leadership that comes from God rarely passes unchallenged. Those who profit from corruption, who guard the status quo, will resist him fiercely. Al-Qahtani will not be shaped by popular trends, nor swayed by democratic polls, nor bound by the approval of global powers. He will be unflinching with the corrupt, just with the believers, and relentless in his mission. His rise may unsettle the world, but it will steady the hearts of the faithful. For too long, the earth will have been ruled by tyrants, oppressors draped in the banners of freedom and progress. Al-Qahtani will strip away their illusions. He will not seduce the people with charm, but guide them with truth. Some scholars suggest his rule will prepare the way for the Mahdi, or perhaps even coincide with it. Others see him as a forerunner, purifying the land and awakening the Ummah. But most agree, Al-Qahtani is not the Mahdi. His role is distinct, his mission unique. He may well be the first great correction in a world drowning in error. His leadership will remind humanity what it truly means to be ruled by a man who fears Allah more than he fears men. In an age when the world will be stumbling blindly in search of meaning, Al-Qahtani will stand as a living sign of divine purpose. His presence will not merely inspire, it will fulfill prophecy. His very name will awaken hearts, and his rise will spark a chain of events that will unfold swiftly and inevitably, carrying us toward the final moments written long before our time. We do not await him with superstition. We await him with knowledge. We prepare not with idle speculation, but by returning to faith, to justice, to the path of the Prophet. Al-Qahtani's emergence is not a myth. It is a promise, and the promise of Allah is always true. Yet his coming is only the beginning, for in the long course of human history, no figure has been more awaited, more revered, more deeply woven into the hopes of the faithful than the one destined to restore balance when the world teeters on the edge of ruin. He is known not by a personal name, but by a title, Al-Mahdi, the Guided One. He is not a prophet, for the seal of prophecy was closed with Muhammad. But he is a man divinely inspired, chosen not by lineage alone, but by the weight of destiny itself. The signs of his coming are not obscure whispers or hidden legends. They are clear, recorded in the most authentic of prophetic traditions. When he emerges, the world will be cloaked in darkness. Corruption will dominate, injustice will choke the weak, and the Muslim Ummah will be fractured, confused, desperate for a leader who seeks no power for himself, but accepts it as a trust from Allah. His name will be Muhammad, and his father's name Abdullah, mirroring the noble name of the final messenger. His forehead will be broad, his nose slightly curved, but his true beauty will not lie in his features, rather in his character, his sincerity, his justice, and his unwavering adherence to the Sunnah. He will not be a revolutionary general, nor a scholar hidden away in silence. His emergence will be sudden, divinely decreed, prepared by Allah in a single night. Before that night, he may not even know himself who he is. But when the appointed hour arrives, the veil of the ordinary will be lifted, and the Mahdi will stand as the most extraordinary man of his time. In the sacred city of Mecca, he will be recognized. Humble and reluctant, he will attempt to flee the responsibility. But the righteous will surround him, and there beside the Kaaba, they will pledge allegiance to him. It is in that holiest sanctuary on earth that the tide of history will turn. An army will rise to crush him, but Allah will protect him with a sign undeniable. The earth itself will swallow the force sent against him in the desert between Mecca and Medina. The world will know the Mahdi is under divine protection. With his leadership established, he will unite the fractured Muslim Ummah, and the path toward the final unfolding of destiny will begin. His rule will not be about power or control, but about justice. He will fill the earth with fairness just as it had been filled with oppression. Wealth will circulate freely, the needy will be cared for, and those once forgotten will find their place in a society rooted in divine law. Under the Mahdi's leadership, justice will stretch beyond the borders of the Muslim lands, drawing people of all nations and backgrounds toward the clarity and compassion of his rule. The Prophet described this era as one of abundance. The earth will uncover its treasures, the skies will pour down rain, crops will flourish, and hardship will vanish. People will seek out recipients of charity, only to find none. He will restore the pure teachings of Islam, sweeping away centuries of distortion, innovation, and corruption. The Quran and Sunnah will stand not only as theory, but as the living foundation of daily life. But the Mahdi's mission will not stop at social reform or spiritual revival. He will lead the Ummah in righteous campaigns against oppression and disbelief. Among the greatest of these will be the conquest of Constantinople. This city, which once saw the light of Islam under Sultan Mehmet II, will witness a second liberation under the Mahdi. Yet this victory will be unlike any conquest in history. The Prophet described it in detail. The city will not fall through siege or bloodshed, but through the remembrance of Allah. The believers will chant Allahu Akbar, and with each proclamation, a section of the city's defenses will collapse until it is finally taken without violence. But even in this moment of triumph, a far greater trial will await. As the Mahdi and his forces return from victory, they will hear of a presence so terrifying, so deceptive, that it will shake the very foundation of faith itself. This is Al-Dajjal, the Antichrist. The Prophet warned his followers of this figure more than any other trial, calling his emergence the greatest tribulation ever to fall upon humanity. His very name, Dajjal, comes from the root Dajjala, meaning to deceive, to cover truth with falsehood. Deception will be his most powerful weapon. He will rise in a time when the world is already confused, when hearts are unanchored and belief is fragile. From the east, from a land long tied to upheaval, possibly Khorasan, he will march with legions of loyal followers. Among them will be men from the Jewish community of Isfahan, clad in green garments and armed for war. Yet the Dajjal's battle is not merely military. It is a war of deception, a trial that will test the very souls of mankind. The trial of Al-Dajjal will not be merely physical. It will be psychological, spiritual, and deeply manipulative. He will claim divinity, performing deceptive miracles to support his blasphemy. He will command the skies to pour rain and the earth to yield its harvest. He will grant wealth and abundance to his followers, while condemning his opponents to drought and starvation. He will appear to hold paradise in one hand and hell in the other. Yet the Prophet warned us, his paradise is in fact hell, and his hell is truly paradise. These illusions will test the very core of faith, the believer's trust in the unseen. He will even kill a man and bring him back to life, not out of mercy, but as a spectacle of terror. Yet that man, a true believer filled with certainty, will declare, "By Allah, I have never been more sure that you are the Dajjal." His testimony will resound as a beacon of truth across the earth, but still multitudes will be deceived. Physically, Dajjal will bear unmistakable signs. He will be broad-chested, strong, with a ruddy complexion and curly hair. But the most telling feature will be his eye, blind in one, described as bulging like a floating grape. Between his eyes, every believer will see the word kafir, disbeliever, whether literate or not. This divine mark will serve as a final warning, a filter separating truth from falsehood. The Prophet told us that Dajjal will travel the world swiftly, like clouds driven by the wind. No land will escape him except Mecca and Medina, whose gates will be guarded by angels. Yet Medina itself will be shaken 3 times, casting out its hypocrites, who will then join him. A chilling reminder that protection is not about geography, but about faith itself. Those with steadfast hearts will be safe. Those with weak faith will find no refuge. His reign will last 40 days, but these will not be ordinary days. The first will feel like a year, the second like a month, the third like a week, and the remaining like normal days. The companions once asked the Prophet how they should pray in such distorted time, and he replied, "Estimate the times and maintain your prayers. Even amid cosmic disruption, the duty to turn to Allah remains unshaken." Though terrifying, Dajjal's power is not absolute. He is only a creation of Allah, permitted to test humanity, and his end has already been decreed. At the height of his tyranny, when his deception suffocates the world and his triumph seems complete, deliverance will descend from the heavens. Not from an army, not from worldly power, but from a man who once walked this earth with truth on his lips and miracles in his hands. Sa ibn Maryam, Jesus, the Son of Mary, peace be upon him. His return is not just the correction of past falsehoods. It marks the beginning of the end for all deception. He will descend near the eastern white minaret of Damascus, supported by the wings of 2 angels. His garments will shine with a golden hue, and droplets will fall from his blessed hair as though he had just performed ablution. He will descend, not to bring a new message, but to confirm the truth that has always been. The Mahdi will step back and offer him leadership in prayer, but Sa, son of Mary, will gently decline, placing the Mahdi forward, saying, "You are the leader of these people." In this humble exchange, we witness the unity of all prophetic missions and the honor bestowed upon the final Ummah of Muhammad. The moment Jesus gazes upon the Dajjal, the false Messiah will begin to wither, dissolving like salt in water under the weight of divine power flowing through him. He will chase Dajjal to the Gate of Lud in present-day Palestine, and there, with his own hands, strike down the deceiver. This is more than the death of a man. It is the death of deception. The spell will break. The lies will collapse. The world will awaken. The Dajjal's forces, seeing their master destroyed, will scatter in despair. Even the natural world will turn against them. Trees and stones will speak, exposing those who hide, except for the cursed Garkad tree, foretold as the tree of the deceivers. What follows is not mere retribution. It is a cleansing. The earth, long poisoned by deception, will finally breathe free. And so, the greatest liar will fall, not through politics nor armies, but by the undeniable force of divine justice, wielded by the hand of a prophet who sought no glory for himself, but always pointed back to his Lord. In that moment, humanity will witness what it truly means for light to conquer darkness. With the deceiver slain and the shroud of lies lifted, a new chapter will begin, unlike any that came before it. The world, scarred by centuries of injustice and the trauma of its greatest trial, will finally know rest. The rule of Jesus, Son of Mary, will commence. But his return is not to bring a new religion, nor to establish a new political order. Revelation ended with Muhammad. Instead, he will restore what was distorted, fulfill his mission, and reign as a just ruler enforcing Islam, the final message of God. His arrival will echo like a divine correction through time. He will break the cross, not in hatred, but as a repudiation of the falsehood that entered his message. He will kill the swine, removing what became a symbol of defiance against divine law. And he will abolish the jizya, for there will be no room left for half measures or negotiated allegiances. Under his rule, only Islam will remain, not through coercion, but through the irresistible power of pure truth unveiled. The era that follows will be one of unimaginable peace and prosperity. Justice will reign so perfectly that not a single soul will remain oppressed. Rain will fall in its due time. The earth will yield in abundance. Predators and prey will live side by side in harmony. Children will play with serpents without harm. The human soul, long burdened by fear and division, will finally find peace. Wealth will flow so freely that none will accept charity. Poverty will vanish, not only in material terms, but in spirit. Class, lineage, and power will dissolve under the banner of the oneness of Allah and the finality of his message. Sa will live humbly. He will marry, have children, and after 40 years of peace, he will pass away, buried beside the Prophet Muhammad in Medina. A life once lifted prematurely will be completed in fullness, his mission concluded in light. But even this golden age must come to an end. With his passing, the door of history will begin to close. The final generation of believers will live out the last moments of human history, and into that world of peace will erupt one last storm. A force of chaos locked away since ancient times, Ya'juj and Ma'juj, known as Gog and Magog. Their release will mark the beginning of the earth's final tremors before its destruction. An ancient terror, preserved in the Quran and echoed in countless narrations. In the time of Tulkarnain, the mighty and righteous king, Ya'juj and Ma'juj, Gog and Magog, were sealed behind a vast barrier of iron and copper, a divine containment restraining their corruption. But that wall was never meant to last forever. It was mercy, not permanence. When the decree of Allah arrives, no fortress, no boundary, no structure will hold them back. They will surge forth like a swarm of locusts, devouring everything in their path. Their numbers will be beyond comprehension, so vast that for every human being, there will be 1,000 of them. They will drink rivers until they are dry, lakes until their beds crack. So many will they be, that when the last of them crosses a barren riverbed, they will remark, "There used to be water here," unaware it was their own multitudes that drained it. Their devastation will not be measured by armies alone, but by the collapse of the world itself, its ecosystems, its economies, its sanity. Say with Macron, son of Mary, together with the believers, will retreat, not out of fear, but in obedience to Allah's command. They will ascend Mount R, the mountain of prophets and revelation, seeking refuge. There, the believers will endure their greatest trial, not through the sword, but through hunger and thirst. Food will become so scarce that the head of a bull will be worth more than gold. Yet they will remain steadfast, praying, invoking Allah, knowing that hardship is the forge of faith. And when their trial reaches its peak, when hearts are broken and tongues dry from endless supplication, Allah will respond, not with a storm, not with armies, but with an invisible miracle. Worms, called Naghaf, will descend upon the necks of Yajuj and Majuj as they sleep. By morning, every last one of them will lie lifeless, silent as a storm that has passed. But the earth will be choked with their corpses, the stench unbearable. Again, the believers will cry out, and Allah will answer. Birds of immense size will descend, carrying the bodies away to a place known only to Him. Then rain will fall, a cleansing rain unlike any before, washing the earth until it shines as if reborn. But this is not a reset. This is preparation. The world is being readied for its final breath. Peace will return briefly. The earth will calm. Believers will live once again in harmony. But in their hearts they will know the end is near. Then will come one of the gentlest mercies ever known. Allah will send a soft, fragrant wind from Yemen. This will not be a wind of destruction, but a wind of release. Its mission, to take the soul of every believer who has even an atom's weight of faith. It will sweep across the world, into homes, over mountains, across deserts, through walls. No heart of faith will be untouched. The righteous will not die in pain, but drift into peace, as though falling into gentle sleep, carried into light. Their burden will be lifted, their test complete. When the last believer's soul has been taken, the earth will be emptied of righteousness. Only the worst of humanity will remain, those who rejected faith, denied truth, abandoned morality. They will descend into chaos, living like beasts, for nothing will remain to guide or restrain them. No prophets, no scripture, no divine light, only darkness, and then, without warning, it will come. The trumpet will be blown by Israfil. Its sound will rip through creation like fire tearing through dry forest. The skies will shatter, the mountains will crumble, the seas will erupt. Every living creature will die, every sound will vanish, every heart will cease, and silence will cover everything. For a time known only to Allah, the earth will wait, still, breathless, void. Then, with the second blast, all will rise again. Bodies reformed, souls returned. The day of judgment will begin. And those who believed in the unseen, who clung to faith through trial, who recognized the signs and the 5 foretold men, they will rise to honor, to reward, to joy no eye has seen, no ear has heard, no heart has imagined. And there, in eternity, they will find what this fleeting world could never offer. Peace without end, justice that never fades, and nearness to the one they worshipped in both awe and love.